Sam Hammerstrom. Sam was born in Jamestown on December 30th, 1917. He distinguished himself as an outstanding athlete and a very fierce competitor through his high school and college careers. He was a football letterman both in 1934 and 35 and competed in track and the 220 hurdles in 1933 and 34. During the 1935 JHS football season, Sam captained the squad and led the Red Raiders in scoring as a quarterback and running back. Sam moved on to Union College in Schenectady, New York, and continued his gridiron success. He was known as the Big Swede on campus, and he captained the freshman squad to an undefeated season in 1936. He was a varsity football standout over the next 3 years, with his best season as a senior when the squad went 7-0-1. Sam set a Union single-season rushing record with 1,143 yards, and that record stood for the next 50 years. Quite an accomplishment. Sam had 7 100-yard-plus rushing performances, with his best effort being a 236-yard day. He also did the place kicking and punting for the team, accounting for 86 points on 13 touchdown and extra point kicks, placing him 4th in the nation that year. Sam was chosen to the AP Small College All-American team and the AP All-Upstate New York All-Star team. His outstanding college career led to an offer by the New York Giants in January of 1940. However, Sam turned down the opportunity to earn the astronomical amount of $150 a game, and instead he took a teaching position that paid around $1,300 a year. Later on that same year, the Detroit Lions offered Sam a chance at the NFL, but Sam again said no thanks. Sam came home to JHS in 1947 and coached the Red Raiders for the next 3 seasons to a combined 15-9 record, including an undefeated 1949 campaign. He then headed back to Union College in 1950 and spent the next 7 seasons there as the head football coach, compiling a record of 26, 34, and 2. Sam left Union in 1957, moved on to Arizona due to family illness, and over the past 34 years he's remained active both in sports and his community, serving as a town council member and mayor in Wicksburg, Arizona. Living now in Camp Verde, Arizona, Sam was a member of the Lions Club for several years and the Kiwanis Club since 1982. Before retiring, Sam also served as the Camp Verde School District Superintendent. For his outstanding accomplishments as an athlete, coach, and community leader, both in and out of Chautauqua County, Sam Hammerstrom is welcomed as a distinguished new member into the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame. Sam?
Thank you very much. I am greatly honored to be here and to receive this award. Being a Jamestowner, you know, it means quite a bit. I wish I'd have Marilyn write my speech, though. Dennis told me earlier that he expected I'd be the longest talker. I think your MC will win that one.
This guy's my idol, too.
Truthfully, I'm very glad to be here, and I'm also glad that I didn't bet on any of my games. I take this, though, I received this award in the name of my family, the Hammerstrom boys. My oldest brother was the captain of Jamestown High School, elected captain in 1924, and he didn't serve as captain. He went to King College and was there a football star and captained. And my next oldest brother was Dick, and he was the captain of JHS in 1926. And he later coached a local city league team for a couple of seasons and won a city championship, and that team was called the Aces. Some of you may remember that. And my next oldest brother, who is my guest tonight, Alfred, he was on the football squad, but at 6'3" and 140 pounds, he never made a letter. But he was an honor student and president of the class of 1933, and he's my guest tonight, Alfred. For those of you that remember Art is in Green Valley, Arizona, about 220 miles south of me, with his wife, Mary Alice. Dick is in Melbourne, Florida, with his wife, Marion, also a JHS graduate. And Alfred lives in Roanoke, Virginia. And then I came along, and I was lucky enough to be elected captain of football in 1935. So you can see, with 4 boys, 3 of them football captains, and 1 the president of the senior class, why I look upon this as a family. honor and a family award. That's why I do it. And I don't think there are many families that can say their 4 boys did that in Jamestown High School. But anyway, if you think I'm going to stand up here, you young people, and talk about the old days, the good old days, you're wrong, because the days weren't all that great. But the people were. And before I go any farther, I want to admit, though, I left out 2 things in my resume for this. My first letter from any school at all was a little orange felt circle, about like that, with a black felt J on it, and it was glued on, I think, by the home ec department. And it was a letter from Jefferson Junior High School for cheerleading. That's the truth, honestly. I got cut from the basketball squad, and I became a cheerleader. My coaches, my brothers, you see, had a big influence on me. And my coaches also did. My first coach was Horace, or we called him Hoss Williams, who was the coach of a 1931 City League 13 and 14-year-old league of football. And we won the city championship in the fall of 1931 with a 7-0-1 record. And Hoss was our coach. And my next coach was Alan Franklin Ayers, my sophomore coach in 1932. And Alan Franklin Ayers became my line coach when I came back here as a head coach. And that's unusual. And my next coach was Denton Moon for 3 years, 33, 34, and 35. And all of those people, very fine, upstanding people, and they really inspired me to do better. And I often, every time I came back from college or in the Navy or any other time, I'd go and see Al Ayers and Denton Moon every time. And then there were sports writers. Wade Forsythe. Wade Forsythe covered me when I was playing, and then he covered me when I was coaching. And that's unusual. And Frank Hyde, who's a member of this Hall of Fame, was also a sports writer. And I've got to backtrack a little bit and say that Alfred also went to King College along with Art, my oldest brother, and that's the same college that one of your members, Muddy Rizzo, went to, and where he was a star, and he's a member of this Hall of Fame. So I can't forget that. So those were good old people. But the next guy is Dr. Harold A. Blaisdell, who is also a member of this Hall of Fame. And Doc sat on the bench while I was playing, and then I prevailed upon him when I was a coach to stay 3 more years, and he sat on the bench next to me when I was coaching. And he was my friend and my advisor. So I have a lot of association with all of those people, and they had a great effect upon me. And then there were players that played for me. Roger Olson was the captain of my undefeated team in 1949. And then there was Billy Thomas that played with me in 34. Billy Thomas, a little Albanian boy of 135 pounds of guts and muscle and brain. And he preceded me at Union College. And I roomed with him for 3 years. And Billy is still active as a nuclear electrical engineer, and he still does consulting work for Princeton University. And he's a little old 135-pounder, and he had a brain, and he's still going. So, and if you remember Billy Thomas, I can tell you about him. I see him every few years at reunions. I digress a little bit. I want to say one thing. A lot of people ask me, what's the difference between modern football and the old-time football? Well, there are a lot of rules changes, a lot of them. And what would happen if the old-timers played the modern guys? Well, if we played under our rules, we'd win. Because, the ball was a pumpkin, and they wouldn't be able to throw it. And you had to be 5 yards behind the line to throw a pass. Otherwise, you'd get penalized. And you couldn't block by pushing like they do now, so they'd lose 15 yards every play. And then, if it was close at the half, we'd win in the second half because none of these guys have played more than 30 minutes. But, you know, if I weighed 280 or 290 or 300, I think I'd be tired after 30 minutes, too. But seriously, if we played under today's rules, we would be clobbered. Because today's athletes are better, they're better brought up, they have better nutrition. We never heard of a vitamin, you know. Well, we never heard of cocaine either. But that's not a slam. I say that to prove how lucky we were. And I mean that. So today's athletes are faster, they're bigger, they're stronger, they can throw the ball better. They're just better. And that's the way it ought to be, don't you think? I really do. And I think the young people of today are just as good as we were. I really, honestly feel that. There are just more of them, that's all. I really feel that they are. So with that, I would like to finish by telling you two examples of, you stole part of my speech, you know. I'm going to finish by pointing out the difference between old-time football and sports and today. And one of them is that in my scrapbook I have a flyer about a banquet that the Kiwanis Club was putting on for our 1934 lettermen, all 14 of us. And the main speaker was going to be Dr. John Baines Sutherland, Jock Sutherland, the famous coach at Pittsburgh. And it was going to be in the Crystal Ballroom of the Hotel Jamestown, 1934. But the main thing I'm trying to bring about is that the price of admission was $1. $1. And then I have here, and if the hall wants it, I have a copy of that contract that you were talking about from the New York Giants for $150 a game. And it's signed by Wellington Mara. That's the father or the uncle of the present Wellington Mara, and there's a copy of it, and there's a letter from Wellington, and it was $150 a game. But remember, in those days, bread was 10 cents a loaf, and the highest amount I ever made at that time was 50 cents an hour. So you see, it's all relative. Thank you again. It's been a pleasure. I could talk for an hour, but I won't. I fooled you, didn't I? Thank you very much.
Wait a minute. Sam.